Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back to Papaw's place. Guys, this morning we're going to give a little quick garden update here. We're in the last week of June, and it is getting hot, hot, hot. It's so hot, I think I seen the devil down on his knees yesterday repenting. It's pretty daggum hot. But yesterday afternoon I got out here and I started pulling a lot of stuff up, because it's done got that time of year when it gets hot, things is slowing down, and we're gonna walk around and show y'all up close what I got left, what's still going, and actually what's just now getting started good. And just do the regular old garden update. That's all this is gonna be doing. So there's my in-ground garden. And you can see the Tomatillos. They just now getting to where they really putting them on now. Them things was loaded down with blooms, but yet they didn't set a lot of fruit a few weeks ago. But this time, I mean, I've been randomly saving fruits off of them, putting in the freezer. Gonna try to collect enough to share, and may want to make her some salsa out of it. But it looks like a lot of these new blooms up here is turning to fruit more than I had before. Again, that's my first time to ever grow tomatillos, and they done fairly well. But they still are going, so they still got time to prove to me they gonna produce more than what they have already. Now the okra, of course it loves hot weather, so it's just now getting really turned on. We done eat a couple messes of okra off of it. The peppers has been doing real good this year. Usually my peppers is overgrown in size, so this year I didn't put as much fertilizer on them, and you can tell the size of the plants is a lot smaller, but they've been putting on plenty of peppers, more than we need anyway. Now this row right down through the middle here, where I had just random peas planted just to fill the gaps for something to grow, before the vines started getting tangled up and taking over everything, I pulled them up. And what I did, I planted in some of these holes some zucchinis and squash for late zucchinis and squash. Rattlesnake green beans is coming to an end. We actually didn't pick them as much as we should have, but I'm finna probably today clip the vines on the ground this morning. And then them's gonna start dying, and I get them cleaned off one day when I feel energetic. Now these two purple boy tomato plants has been doing awesome this year, guys. And this one ain't quite ready enough. I'm gonna go on and pick it so y'all can show y'all. These purple boys, all of my tomatoes has been that big around. Y'all can see if that gives you any indication of the size. I hadn't got any bigger than that. I don't know, this is my first year to try these. Maybe you can let me know in the comments if they supposed to get bigger than that, but I will say, for what we've planted this year, me and Sharon thinks this purple boy is our best tasting tomato this year. Now it's still not quite as acidy as the Cherokee, because they say this is supposed to taste like the Cherokee. It's the closest thing I've ever eaten to taste like a good Cherokee, but it still ain't got the acid in it that we like out of them Cherokee tomatoes. but you can see I will be growing these again, and I've already found another variety of hybrids that's supposed to taste like Cherokees. Next year I'll plant 2 of these, and then I'll plant some of the new varieties. So y'all know every year I plant something new, just trial and error, giving them a chance to, you know, that's how you gotta find what works best for you, just like my summer dance cucumbers over there. Once I found how good they grow, how many cucumbers they make, I grow them every year. Now, before we get back over to the tomato plants, this right here is some late criminal squash, because the one plant I had out here, vine borer got it, and we'll look at my other ones over in the bed. They're coming to an end. So I already got some planted here, and them holes down there where all them peas was planted, I've got some more zucchini and yellow squash seed planted in these holes to have some late squash for the summer, coming into the early fall, hopefully. The Black Beauty eggplant, this little eggplant has been producing very well this year, and got, I don't know, you can see it's got a lot of fruits on it there. 2 or 3 gonna need harvest this morning. I've done some harvesting yesterday evening. I'll show y'all a little shot of what's on the table up there from yesterday evening. Right here I went on and pulled up that Italian ice tomato, even though it was still growing and thriving. Them things don't have no taste at all. So this is my second time to give them a chance. I'll never grow them again. That's where that squash was that the vine borer got. And this little fairy tale, this is the first year that this little fairy tale has not got bigger than that plant wise, but the little fella is loaded down. And we've been harvesting them, guys. I mean, there's some of these are big enough. Fairy tales, they small, like fingerling eggplants. You know, we've been harvesting and eating off of them and giving away, and it's still loaded like this. And these right here is my Celebrity Plus tomatoes. And you can see I done had to slide the string over, stretching them out. They've been producing very, very well, and you see they're still loaded down with tomatoes. Them there I let turn a little redder before I pull them, but now I do pull my tomatoes early because I got so many. That way, when I give them away, they got time to set and finish turning. I know they taste better when you leave them on the vine to ripen all the way, but I just tend not to do that. But that's the one celebrity plant that's forked off, and you can see how loaded she is. And been steady picking tomatoes off of her for 3 weeks now. That's another Celebrity Plus that's forked off, loaded to the gill. I mean, you couldn't ask this tomato to produce any more tomatoes, but yet it still don't have the taste I like. They good tomatoes, but I like acidy tomatoes as far as eating myself. So most all these has been just giveaway tomatoes, and I'm keeping my purple boys for me and sharing. Now this is the Hycenator tomato. It's Sakata STM 2255. It's been producing well. Actually, this vine here was run on up the string, but I fooled around out here and broke it off, so I just cut it off. But it's been producing well again this year, like it has last year, like it did last year when I tried them. Here's where the hydroponic buckets were. With the hydroponic buckets, if some of you seen my last garden update, I'm going to tell you again. The hydroponic buckets done great. They done what they're supposed to do. But here in the south, it gets too hot too quick, and you have to start topping them off with nutrients every day. If you don't, they won't make it. So after my 2 tomato plants, my Hycenator and my Celebrity Plus on the end, once I got the last tomato off of them, Because guys, it got so hot, the nutrients got so hot, you couldn't keep them going. And then there was one with an eggplant, one with a cabbage, one with a bell pepper. They were still going. And then there was one right here that had the Italian ice tomato. It was still going strong. I just pulled all this mess up for the last 2 days, cleaned my buckets and put them up. Before I pulled them up, I'd popped me some cucumber seeds. I think I planted the Hycenator cucumber, we'll show you. But I'd already popped the seed in the ground about, I don't know, close to a week ago, 4 days ago, something like that. But you see I got my cucumber seeds is popping up out of the ground and starting. I got 2 in that one, but that's good. I can strain one direction and one the other direction. I have late cucumbers. Now jumping back over, y'all can tell I'm a little stocked up this morning. Jumping back over to the tomatoes again, Hycenator. I mean, all 4 of them right there is Hycenators. And guys, I don't know if y'all can see how many tomatoes is on here. And here we are at July. And it's so hot now, I don't think these blooms up here, I don't think they're going to sit tomatoes. If they do, it'll just be one here and there. Kind of like that one was a late sitter. But we've been pulling tomatoes, picking tomatoes, and picking tomatoes, and they still loaded with the tomatoes. So my tomato crops this year really turned on and put on. I done a little different on the fertilizer and got my plants back down in the smaller stage, but yet loading them down with fruit. I was using that Master Blend tomato formula liquid running through my drip irrigation. And then occasionally I'd run some 20-20-20 through there. Now this here is the Hycenator cucumber. And you can tell it's still going beautiful. And guys has been putting off tons of cucumbers. I harvested them yesterday. And I'll show y'all a picture, like I said, what's on the table from yesterday. But there's still cucumbers hanging up in there. Still little ones coming, still blooms. I wish I knew what variety that was, but it comes from Heiss Tools. That's the Hycenator. Now these 4 little Roma tomatoes, I must say that's the worst my Roma tomatoes has done as far as the amount they produce per plant. And you see they got the disease real quick. So maybe today I'm gonna get what tomatoes is turning red on there off and go on and remove them 4 plants. There's 2 on each side. Then we get into our red snappers. And you can see the red snappers make bigger size on average tomatoes. Well, I got 6 of them plants right here. And yes, they're growed up because the marigolds I planted this year was the giant ones, I guess, because you can tell they climbed all the way up. Now guys, I don't know how much the marigolds helps with insects and stuff, but I must say, I just told my wife yesterday evening when we was walking around out here, I only sprayed this garden, I think, twice for insects this year. And I sprayed it with spinosad. And I ain't had no insect issues this year at all. Again, that's the rattlesnake green beans. Them will be coming off. Getting them all cleaned up. And then down here on these ends, these Florida 91 tomatoes. The little plants was loaded down and made plenty of tomatoes. Now that one over there didn't do as good. The one on the other side, it didn't do as good as the one on this side. But the tomatoes, to me, I can't tell between the Florida 91s, the red snappers, and the Hycenators. and the Celebrity Plus. To me, unless when I actually had them side by side and I wrote on them and knew which one was which, I really can't tell the difference in any of them. It just tastes like a tomato. Which they way better than store-bought tomatoes. But what I'm getting at is they're not acidy tomatoes like the Purple Boys or Cherokees. Down here on this end, you can see these two marigolds are still getting it. But whatever contamination's in this soil right there, and on that side of that bed right there, I have tried multiple times planting seeds to get something growing there, and they just will not grow. So I'm gonna have to remove that soil. Plus I'm thinking about removing this bed and this bed before next year. That way I can get in here with a zero turn and mow. I'm gonna leave this one right here, but of course I'm gonna remove the soil and start over with that one. So that's where my favorite little Honey Delight tomato was, that was growing so good, then just died when it got about 2 foot tall. So that spot caused me not to have my Honey Delight tomato this year. And that right there is the summer dance cucumbers that I've planted ever since I've discovered them. They do well for me every year, even though I harvested yesterday. These two can be harvested today. There's one right there can be harvested today. One up there can be harvested today. But them things just, we never get one that tastes bitter. That's why that's my go-to cucumber. But also I must say, the Hycenator cucumber down there, I like it. Whatever variety it is, I really like it because it made good cucumbers, pretty cucumbers, and only one we taste had any bitterness in it. Actually, we let get too big. I think we might be finna get a little shower. Martin's flying well this morning. My strawberry plants, I got my shade cloth put back up over them yesterday. Them little plants, basically all they made this year was just enough to snack on, garden snack. Muscadines, they're doing good, starting to get loaded down. They're going to be loaded again this year. Look at all the muscadines, guys. All of them, bunch of clusters of muscadines. All 4 varieties. I had to go back and get my coffee. My throat was getting dry. My cornflowers done awesome this year. Then I had my bed, I called it everything corn down here. Even got corn thrown in there growing. It's doing good, but the heat's getting it, because I done backed off on watering it. When it starts getting July, guys, I start calling it quits on a lot of stuff that's unnecessary, because it ain't worth the time and the watering you have to do to keep them going. Plus, when it gets up here close to these 3-digit temperatures, I don't care how much you water something, it ain't gonna thrive. You end up hurting it, overwatering it in the heat of summer, trying to keep them going. Couple of sunflowers and stuff. But that was just everything. I threw all kind of stuff in that corner this spring, seeds and some of those flowers I'd started in the greenhouse. And here's my one Honeydew Delight tomato. I planted the extra one I had back here. And it ain't been thriving because it's, I don't know, it ain't never really done anything back here on this fence done that well ever since. So this may be the last year I try to plant anything on this fence. Take all that right there out. That way I got room to mow with my zero turn right down the back of this fence. I think that's the Jewel and the Premier. If I ain't wrong on that, which varieties they are. But we got some muscadines off them 2 bushes, guys. I bet we got 5 gallons of muscadines. Close to it if it ain't 5 gallons in the freezer to make jellies and jams and whatever. Pies and they still, you could pick a quart this morning. But I'm done with them. I told Sharon if she wanted to pick any more she could if anybody come by. But they done wound down and I'm tired of picking them every morning. That right there was where my carrots gone wild. When I pulled them up yesterday evening, topped my beds back off. My plans is to take my beds. And I may get some of that done today, 'cause I got a day off from work as far as mowing. I ain't got to mow nobody's yards today. I think the beds I pulled stuff out of yesterday, I'm going to put some black plastic over it so it'll kill the grass seeds and nothing will grow this summer in there. Colton's pumpkins, we done harvest his biggest pumpkin and a couple of smaller pumpkins. And there's actually a couple of smaller pumpkins that's ready to be harvested. And when I'm saying ready to be harvested, we're not growing these to eat, so I don't know if they at their plum ripeness or not. Actually, you got 3 more needs to be picked. These ain't the giant, I don't know what varieties they are, but he brought a pumpkin home from the pumpkin patch last October. They always go to the pumpkin patch every year. And the pumpkin he brought home that we got the seeds out of was not quite, I'm gonna say about basketball size pumpkins, whatever it was. But he had one on his vine that we harvested. It was a little bit bigger than a basketball. And the other ones is just small like that. But that's all right, because all me and Colton wanted to do was grow a pumpkin. Now this sweet corn back here, I'm still letting go. I didn't plant this to eat, but there may be a few ears on there. I'm gonna let that go until it starts dying down. Because like I said, I ain't watering it no more. I ain't growing that to eat. This is where the zucchinis come from. Done awesome this year in that bed, the zucchinis did. And that's the ones y'all seen in the little wagon up there. She harvested yesterday. There's another one right over here. Needs to be harvested. I don't know if she left them on purpose, but there's one needs to be harvested. There's one needs to be harvested. So them are still going good. My green egg, one of them it done come to an end and I pulled it up. So I ain't got but 1 green egg plant left. Just got 1 green egg on it, needs to be harvested. Now I don't know if it's gonna, hot as it is, it may be done. It might bloom out and make a few more. That bed's just got some prism kale. I started late. I'm gonna try to keep them going through the summer so when we come into the fall, they already be going. This here was worth just some yellow squash I had planted. They had done come to an end. There was some onions in that bed. This bed right here has got the same thing as the other back there with corn. I just planted corn and peas in there in my thoughts, I'm trying to correct the soil. So I wanted something just growing in there. So that's just be growing until it gets ready. But like I said, these ears right here, this is sweet corn. This is G90, I think. These are ready right now to pull. So I could get a few more ears right here off this morning. This bed that I actually was raising amazing sweet corn in, I got like 34 or 36 ears. But now my ears only ended up after you cut the ends off because they wasn't fully developed out. All my ears probably about an average of 3.5, 4 inches long, which is fine with us. Like 34 or 36 ears come off that bed. And like I said, I could pull some right there that's ready this morning because them was planted later than the ones I did over here. Ground cherries, they just now starting to make cherries. That bed, that's been nothing in it for a long time. pulled my elephant garlic. It done so-so. It didn't make as big as I wanted it to make, but every one that I planted had a head of garlic on it. This is where my cucumber was hanging in my homemade hydroponic bucket was. Even though the cucumber was still going, I actually had a cucumber on it yesterday. I went on and pulled it up. And now that's where I started a new little bed of asparagus this year. Try to get another little bed of asparagus going. But there's just random kale that come up on its own. No, it didn't. I planted it. Dinosaur kale, but that's all come up with them two. And then was planted way late. Way late. Look at them big old blackberries. Freedom Mark blackberries. My wife done missed these. She didn't see them. We got plenty blackberries this year off my other bushes. This here's a young bush here. This actually the first year it's made any kind of berry. Made some good sized ones though. Cayenne peppers back here. There's a couple down there red. They loaded down. Then I have some different variety bell peppers here. Some of these little carnival blend peppers. They just now, they're loaded down though. Look at them. Loaded down with peppers. And speaking of bell peppers, guys, over there on that row of peppers, I tried the Hycenator bell pepper. I got more bell peppers than I ever have with them. Now, I ain't saying that's something special about them, but it's apparently a good variety of bell pepper, because I got more bell peppers than I've ever been able to grow. And they actually just now should be getting turned on really good. This is the other bed of the criminal squash that's been going from the beginning. We got a couple more right there. That one could be harvested today. It's starting to bloom back out, so maybe that'll give me some few more squash for us to eat until my other ones get going over there, my ones I just planted out late. These two beds where I had corn and peas and different beans just growing in them. And that tomato there, I don't know what variety that is, because it's one of the wild plants that come up over there under my wash sink. I dug it up and planted it in there right in the middle of that corn, and of course you couldn't even see it till I cleaned it out yesterday afternoon and got all the corn out of there. But you can see it was growing, even though it was smothered down up in there with that corn. Still got some pea vines all wrapped up in there I need to get out too. That in there, just cleaned it out. Now here I got some late, I think these was the Florida 91 tomatoes. I planted real late. That way, have some few eating tomatoes coming on here. Or hopefully they'll set some fruit and then have some fall tomatoes before we get our first freeze. That's the reason I was trying that. Also, this is some more cucumbers I'd planted to have coming on. But they kind of running a little later than they should have. They should have already been up there about 16 inches high or taller by now. Go out here to the outside garden. Right there I cleaned up yesterday. That was some spaghetti squash. We had two smaller ones on it yesterday when I pulled it down, which I just threw away, but I think we got we got six good sized spaghetti squash off of that this year, just right in that one spot there. Some of you seen my video, y'all remember. This here is, I think, was them Bandito tomatoes. The yellow tomatoes. We've been getting tomatoes off of them, but I think they're winding down quick once these last few tomatoes, the bigger ones, come off. I'll take that down. I ain't gonna try to keep nothing going this summer. Black Beauty eggplant out here. This one ain't doing so well. We only got a couple eggplants on it, and it's got 3 on it right now. The White Star eggplant didn't do too good this year, planted out here. And then we got some random peppers. I don't know what they are. They just now getting going. Then we got our melon patch. Now I've had issues, guys. This is the, as far as growing cantaloupes, my worst year yet. These things was loaded down with blooms, but they didn't get that many pollinated. Now we've got 5 cantaloupes off of here, maybe 6. But I had some kind of predator come when we was on vacation that week. And you can see where he eat 2 of them. And then night before last, he got another one, whatever it is. Well, even though I had my deer camera put up after I got back from vacation, apparently I didn't have it pointed down toward the ground, because everything I do out here, like when I tilled up them peas I had planted over there, some of you may remember that's where we planted and grew our potatoes and done very well. Especially that was a hit with them purple tomatoes. The kids loved them. I think I got a little clip here I'll throw in here of Colton eating them purple French fries. What are you eating there, Colton?
A purple potato.
Purple potatoes? Are they purple? Ooh, break one open, let's see the inside. Bite it. Well, they purple, ain't they? You like them purple taters? But anyway, I planted some peas there. They done got up about 14 inches tall, and I tilled them in, because I'm wanting to probably cover that garden back there with plastic so to kill all the grass seeds. But back to the cantaloupe, y'all can see I ain't got that many cantaloupes out there. There's probably about 15 left out there, and we done, what I said, 5 or 6 we done got. But man, the cantaloupes has been awesome on flavor. The watermelons, now this has been a kind of a bomb this year. All my watermelons, even though we done got 4 or 5. I ate my first watermelon June the 24th. I ate my second one June the 26th. And then I got 4 more up there. But guys, they all small. I don't know what I did. I know it wasn't lack of water, because these things, we was getting so much rain, I didn't have to water. It was raining 2, 3, and 4 times a week this spring, early summer. Up until the week we went on vacation, I watered them good the week before we left. It didn't rain the week we was gone, and I watered them when I got back, but they was already in their stage of getting ripe. And you don't want to overwater your watermelons in that stage of ripeness, because it kind of water down the flavor. But they all just small. Even though they're small, they've been good though. They've been just as good as any we've bought. But they just small, just like that. That's my Smith County. Well, that watermelon, I mean, last year was like that long. And down there on the end is another one of Colton's pumpkin plants. Now, this guy, I think if I remember right, 2 pumpkins. It's got another pretty good sized one right there that's turning. That's about the size of that one that we harvested. I took it in the house. And then we got 2. Once them are pulled, we'll pull them. So our pumpkins, I planted way early, and they got ready way early. So the only way we're gonna have them save them for Halloween if we leave them sitting in the house. And we probably leave a couple in the house just so he can say he used his pumpkins that he grew for Halloween decorations and paint them up like the kids do every year. But guys, there's one thing I want to show y'all. This is crazy to me. I had a random watermelon that came up on its own in my greenhouse. Look at that. It's a sugar baby watermelon, but the seed come up right there. Well, I just let it grow. I'm like, this thing ain't gonna make it. I have not watered this. I have not done anything to this plant. There's a little watermelon. There's one. There's one back yonder. That's the first one right there. It's the biggest one. Then it's a small one right behind it. And there. And then the vine grew up and started out the window. And that watermelon sitting right there was actually hanging on the outside of the window. But before it got too big, I pushed it through the wire hole there and set it on there. Now, I let this go just because I wanted to see what it's going to do. But what it's time it's going to take me to clean all that mess up and get it out of my wires and stuff ain't worth them watermelons to me, but it was worth getting to see that, because I never thought that watermelon would thrive like it's doing in that greenhouse, especially with me not even watering it. And you can see it's come out the windows, coming back to the ground. Got more blooms. But I've been watching. If it starts going back there toward my diesel heater, I got to get in there and cut them vines. I don't want it getting tangled up in my diesel heater. Mess my heater up. But ain't that something? I always said any seed that comes up on its own makes stronger, prettier plants than seeds or plants that you plant. Because if they come up on their own and thrive on their own, I mean, look how beautiful that is. Versus that. And this has been trying to get watered and fertilized in the early stage and with liquid fertilizer injected. Yeah. That goes to show me my gardening skills ain't worth a crap. If Mother Nature grew one like that in the greenhouse on her own. I have got to come up with a place this next spring to plant these 2 elderberries, because they done getting too big for the containers they in. But I don't know where I want to plant them at. That's the bad thing. So guys, that there is the garden update for the last week of June. And I was really happy with my garden this year. I wasn't happy at all. Some of you watch my videos, y'all remembering the cold weather. I planted stuff too early. I was literally wanting to pull it up and start over, but I left it. And yet, the garden came out awesome. So I was blessed with an awesome garden this year. And it's been the least amount of time this year I've spent in my garden, because my little mowing business has done picked up so much. It keeps me so busy, and when I mow all day, mowing yards and stuff, and so the garden ain't got near about the attention it has the last 2 or 3 years. But hope y'all leave me little comments down there. But guys, that's the end of the little garden update video. Hope y'all have a great day and a blessed week. See y'all next time.